was the quiet one, you know.
It's the top 5.
Yeah,
Sure.
kind of low key. I don't talk much, you know what I mean? And so I'm trying to come out my shell. I'm trying to come out my shell. Yeah.
All right, well, take it away.
All right, we're going to talk about what we're doing. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole tonight. We're just going to talk about what I'm doing to my pines right now to get them ready for next year. This is a really important time for pines right now. You guys, I don't know how many. Who's got pines in here? Everybody got pines? Oh, I love it. I love it. It was the first tree that really made me think of bonsai. You know, I mean, when you saw that old black pine with the craggly bark, that was what sold me. So I've been in search of that holy grail forever. So getting kind of close here and there. So you know, you bet. It is what it is. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about is the 3 things that we should be doing to your pines right now. So hopefully you guys started back fertilizing your pines. Around August, it was still pretty hot. When the temperature gets down below 89, 90, pines kind of come back and start waking back up. So it is that time that you need to start fertilizing between August all the way up until the first frost. I go, pines keep growing. Pines even grow after the first frost. So you might not see a lot of growth in your foliage or your candles, but they are still growing. So it is very important to get, and then on top of that, like Scots pine, white pine, a lot of them we do not put fertilizer on them in the spring because we don't want our needles to get gigantic. So we hold off fertilizing those type in the spring, and we really start kicking it in now because we can feed heavy now. The needles are set. They're not going to get any bigger. They're all going to stay just about that size, and they're just all that energy is just going to go to your needles and your new buds. So we want those babies healthy so that when they come out of the spring, they're on that starting line and they're ready to just bust. So be sure to fertilize it right now. Fungicide, really got to pay attention to especially like the rains we had. All that stuff is just staying moist, and we had a lot of wind this time, but a lot of times just there's no wind. I lost a bunch of trees 2 years ago because of the needle cast came through my in the ground pines and just kind of hit my little ones, and I lost at least 4, 5, 6 trees. So losing pines is a natural thing. We all got to lose them in there. Don't shrug it off and keep going. That's how you do. And hide them. don't have them in your sight. Put them somewhere where you don't see them or your significant other doesn't see them either. So, that's real important. Okay, insects. That is a biggie because right now we got scale. Borers is a big one. I had some ponderosas that a couple of years ago that I collected with Nate and them, and I would just see this little sawdust down on the soil. I just thought, you know, I don't know what to think. They had ate through, the little larva had ate through my camion, was just went all the way down. So one branch would go, and then the next branch would go, and so you have to spray for these. I brought what I've been using. It's a systemic. And Perk, you're using something else too, aren't you?
Yeah, the binite and then.
Yeah, this is the binite. Yeah. We just sprinkle this on the soil. I'll leave all these up here because all of them are on Amazon. Sprinkle it over the soil, especially now that you're watering, and it'll soak down in the soil, and it'll protect you against the borers because those are some bad boys.
Insecticide or
This is a systemic insecticide. It's from Bonsai, and all these will be up here so you guys can come take a look at it. But you need to start protecting for that. Mites is another one. They're not really bad on pines, mostly junipers this time of year, but pines will get them as well. And scale like Julie's.
I have scale.
Julie's got scale. In case you want to see it, she's got some. It's just this little white. It's this little white stuff on the needles, and generally they won't kill a tree unless you know they've got a ton of them. And then
I sprayed it.
yeah.
I mean, will it go away or not?
A lot of times they'll shrug that stuff off. You just got to be vigilant.
So what I have is still alive then?
Yeah, you're still good. Yeah, no, you have not killed it, Jules.
I thought I did.
No. Let's get it up here and see it. Take a look.
Does it still off, Julie?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
I'm infecting everything.
Yeah, this is Julie's. She's done a real good job. She's got some wire scars here that she thought was bad, but no, you're okay. Pines will get, you know, they'll scale up and you'll hide all that, especially if you're gonna grow this tree a little bit taller. Now, if you're gonna leave it down here, then it's gonna take a few years. Yeah, so you're good.
Well, point out the scale. It's at the top.
Oh, well.
You come see it. You can't see it. You gotta get
Yeah.
close.
It's just like little white dots on
Yeah,
some of the
little-
needles at the top.
Yep, little white dots.
What you spray with, Julie?
A Bear product.
Oh yeah, yeah. 3-in-1. 3-in-1's not bad.
Yeah, Bear.
3-in-1 is okay. That usually covers all of it. Okay, so I went over the three
Spraying the
things.
scale is, it's got a little shell over
Yeah.
that protects them. So it's only when they're active will that work. But the systemic will get into the juice of the tree and you'll kill them from the inside out.
So,
Yeah,
Okay.
scales are a pest that have like a hard waxy coating over them, and so a lot of spray-on insecticides don't work. So the systemics work because they're eating the tissue and they can get it through the tissue. But only when the scale's in the crawler stage, when they're moving around, that's when a spray-on insecticide will work. So if you're just using a spray to get scale, you gotta do it over and over and over and over again to eat all the crawlers.
Even with neem oil?
Neem oil is a little different because it suffocates.
Yeah.
Okay.
At any rate, we gotta get these trees ready for the winter. We don't want them going into winter storage not protected or not able to sustain, because most of us winter storage, I don't know about you guys, you keep it covered up or wherever and you lift it up to get air in there. But that is just a perfect place for fungus to get in there and do its thing. So spray your trees before we put them down. Let's see. Let's talk about the flushes. Single flush, double flush. Everybody know the difference between a single flush and double? Bill, what is a single flush, sir?
White pine.
There you go. There you go. So we got different single flush pines up here, pondos, Scots, generally everybody else, Mugos, everybody else. They are, when they put out that candle and they put their needles out, that is it for this year. That's all you're gonna get. So you have to do your designing off of that because you're not gonna get another flush. So
When does that flush happen?
that flush happens in the spring, probably, well, they start just like all the pines. They'll give you a little green tip in March, and then they'll push, and then they'll come out, and they're looking good by June or so. And that would be this Scotch pine, this lovely tree by Jesse. Is that not freaking awesome? He's done it. So this tree put out this one flush of growth. Scots Sylvestris are nice and tight, and Jesse has really been working. This white pine over here is another good one. This is a single flush, so, but the needles stay nice and small. I can't buy this tree really well. Okay, it's not going anywhere. This is another one Tony brought in. So this is a lodgepole. I messed that up again. Single flush, and he just put his wire on it and laid it out. That's another thing we'll talk about. Now is the time that we can do some light wiring to get our branches set to where we want to go. And Tony has done an excellent job on that one. And then double flush. Double flush are our black pines, our reds are double flush. A new one, short needle. Yeah, this is the new hot pine right now. Collected in Missouri and northern Arkansas. Really vigorous. As a matter of fact, too vigorous. I cut these candles. We're thinking, if you guys go to Bjorn's, what's the name of this? Bonsai U. If you go to Bonsai U, you can look up a lot of stuff on YouTube that you don't have to pay for. You don't have to be a member. He talks about this short needle pine. It is just so vigorous. When you cut the candles, it just pops buds all over the place. And then the bark is fantastic. So it is one to keep your eye out for because we got to collect the trip that might be happening that we're going to look for these in the future. But it is a Missouri thing and southern, northern Arkansas, but right around that area. But there are a lot of them out on the bluffs. And it seems like when you get them from the mountain and put them in a pot, they're like, and you start fertilizing, they're like, this is a new life for me. I mean, I can just grow, you know what I mean? So you'll cut them all off and they'll pop another flush in like a month and a half. It is just incredible. So keep your eye out for that. All right, so double flush. That means that when we put those candles out, when it shoots those candles out in the spring, and we got them around June, we cut that whole candle off, right? We remove this whole new growth up here, like that. We cut the whole top off, right, of all that new growth. When we cut that new growth, it sends out, if it's healthy, it sends out anywhere between 2 and 5 new shoots. That's why we call it a double flush. It'll send those out. Those needles are going to be much shorter than our first flush, right? I'm not going down the rabbit hole yet. I don't see any glazy looks yet. So, but this is important because that second flush is shorter, and it gives us a chance to ring in that long foliage to make the tree look uniform. So if you guys get up here and you can take a closer look, this is the second flush of this one, and I don't think that there's a second flush on Tony's. Tony's, that's a second flush over there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a second flush, and now he has to do what we do in the fall. So in the fall, let's get back on point. In the fall, we take these needles off. All right, we take all those off. That's what I'm doing right now.
Is that for double and single?
No, this is just double. Okay. This is all, yeah, let me make sure we're talking about, I'm on double now. Singles, all we did with singles is, we're taking off some of the needles, right? So we're taking off all the needles under the bottom, right? So you'll go and have your glass of wine and put your music on, and you're just gonna take all those needles off the bottom. And then at the top, you're gonna take select needles, right? Because there's buds in these needles. So I usually take select ones off like that, because those buds will push out of those spots, and it'll give me this look that I'm looking for. We're always looking to have, if we just have them all flat, then you'd have a one-dimensional flat pad. What we want is a two-dimensional pad. We want the second layer to be behind that, so it comes in like a cloud. So that, therefore, you got to take off some of them and leave some. It'll look unsightly, but we're not showing our tree yet. We're still developing our tree. It really doesn't matter. So, yes. So then we go back in the fall and we take off that new growth that came off. We select the two that give us the bifurcation. Everybody know about the bifurcation? You're going to get 3 or 4 of them. You're only going to choose the 2 of equal strength. The layout like that. Right. All right. I'm losing. I'm gonna stop on that one. All right. Because I could talk about this all night. When they said, "What are you doing?" and "Can you talk about it?" I was like, "Sure." I mean, I get everybody's attention, and on my trees, that get any better than that, right? All right. So we've talked about single flush, double flush. We've talked about what you need to be spraying. We've talked about what you need to be cutting off. We're also doing light wiring at this time. We're pulling everybody down because, you know, a young tree goes like that, right? Young pines, all the branches are up here. So we're wrapping wire around these bad boys. We did a whole lot of it at the beginners workshop this weekend. So we're wrapping wire around there and we're making them all go down like that. And we want to get more movement to them. You just don't want it to come down like that. You want to come up, down first, maybe come up, maybe go to the left, to the right. Put movement in them, because we want to look as natural as possible. No branch ever just grows like that, right? We got to get some movement in there that makes your tree look better. On these, we're taking off all these needles on the inside of the curves. So this is just some of the stuff I'm doing right now.
Is that the double flush or the single flush?
This is all, we're still all talking double flush. On single flush, we're doing just about the same thing. Aren't you doing that on Scott Pine, Jess?
For younger stuff, if you're, styling and designing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
you want all that growth on the outside of the curve rather than on the inside, because that's what's going to be reaching for the light. Stuff on the inside of the curve, even on the inside of the curve of the trunk, is going to get shaded out. So it just makes sense that those branches would be on the outside of the curve, which is where he's even those needles.
Exactly. So these are just some of the things, because now you don't have needles under there, and your tree, you fed it very well. It is really healthy. It is ready to push. It is actually going to put buds in there between now and almost Thanksgiving. If we don't, if the way that our fall is going with these 80s, If you're feeding now, your needles are not gonna get any longer, but you're gonna start to see little buds that are just gonna pop all the way back on the inside. So they'll be ready to go.
What NPK for now?
So, NPK, right now, N is nitro, P is phosphorus, K is potassium. I think I got that right.
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right. So right now, the theory used to be that you wanted a low nitrogen and a high PK. The general thinking now, Boone and all the authorities are saying just make it equal across there. The nitrogen is not going to push growth right now, so you really don't have to worry about that. What I am using right now, pull that out real quick so everybody will see it, because everybody's got different stuff. I do a lot of organic because I love to feed heavy. We can't do what we do to these trees without a real healthy tree, right? So you got to put a whole lot of, you got to give them a whole lot of energy to do this artistic thing that we do, right? You can't have a weak tree and you bring it all down and do it all like this, you know what I mean? And you expect it to grow. If it is not healthy, it is not going to go. So 0-10-10. This is at the horticultural places. A lot of times you can get it at Lowe's or definitely online. So I'm mixing this. I got a big vat that I put this in. A lot of people are now using the, what's the diffuser? You pour the stuff into the...
Dosatron?
Yeah. They're using a whole lot of those. We were talking about that on Discord. Yeah. A lot of people are pouring these into this, and when you water, it gives just a little bit and feeds everybody. So these are my two right here. This is seaweed and kelp. It is 2-3-1, and this one is 0-10-10. I'm mixing these two bad boys together, and I'm also using cakes. When you guys come up, you'll see a lot of cakes. It stinks, but it is a sweet smell. It is a sweet smelling stink. It is. That means stuff is really soaking in and growing.
So are you putting the fertilizer on once a week or every day?
I'm diluted once a week. Yeah. But the cakes are all around. If you get up here, I'm loaded with cakes right now. So I'll leave them on. I'll leave them on pretty much the whole time because they'll dry up and they'll get out what they want. Oh, I got another book. Has anybody seen this book? Good book from a South African guy that has all the styles. I'm gonna start it here. You just take a look at it, see if you can take a picture of it, find it online. If you're worried about styles or don't know about what styles you might have a little something. You're trying to figure out what kind of style you can put it in. Take a look at that book and see if you can find it. I don't know if it's still in print, but it was a great book I got like 10 or 15 years ago. And and these are my fungicides. Manzab? Mancozeb and Daconol. Daconol is like a protectant, make sure everything is dead. Mancozeb kills everything. So right now I'll hit it with this, and then I'll hit it with this a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks later in a diluted form in a spray bottle. And so, because we want to make sure that we are not carrying anything else.
Now for your needle cast?
Needle cast is a big one, yeah. All right, so I wanted to talk briefly about what you guys can start doing. These are just some of the ones that Tim, everybody knows Tim, hell of a grower. So he started out with these seedlings. He just had seedlings. So these are different stages of his seedlings. I'm gonna put them up here so that you can see them. So you just grow this whip like that, and we usually take off all the needles, Julia, all the way up. We only need a little bit here at the top because this is what we're trying to fatten up. We're trying to fatten it up and keep those buds down there. I'm hoping that this is like this tall, and that is exactly what.
So you pluck the needles or cut them?
Pluck, cut, whatever, yeah, just yank them out. And this is what you end up with. See how he has grown that trunk? All these little buds down here, those are his new branches. So you guys, the chronological order is, these are seedlings that he started maybe 3 years ago. This one has got to be maybe 4 years old or so. And then this one of mine is like 8 or 9 years, right? So it's the same thing. This is what we do, guys. This is part of the enjoyment of this thing. We start here and we go to here by letting that grow all the way up, and then we cut back, and this will get all barky. Somebody was talking about whether the wire can cut in. Wire cutting in is fine. Don't worry about it as long as it's just not cutting off the total cambium off, then you'll die up top. But that pine is gonna find a way to get its nutrients up to the top. So those little wire marks are just gonna strengthen up your whole thing, so.
The 5-yard one, show them where the wound is from the sacrifice branch.
Okay, right here at the top. I don't know if you guys can see it. So he cut it there, and then this is his new leader here. So he's gonna start a new leader. So this one will get all the way up, and then we're gonna cut it there after we put a little movement in it, which is probably too late putting movement in this one. It's a done deal now. So it'll be a formal up, right? Yeah, exactly. So, but no, you grow a sacrifice branch, and if you keep it healthy and you're feeding it well, you're gonna get foliage like this down close, right? All right, so that is just about what I am doing right now.
So if you're new to the pine game and you weren't ready to decandle your double flush pine, would you handle it any differently in the fall right now, or?
Yes. Okay, so you did not decandle because you're trying to get your tree healthy, and your tree has just got this massive amount of foliage on it. So what we do for that case is, let me see, did I have a picture of that? What we're doing is we're taking off all the needles from last year's growth. Those are going to be extra long. You're going to really be able to tell which ones those are, right? So this one right here, that is all these long needles here. You're pulling all these off, right? Is that a black pine? It's a white. Yeah, wrong tree. Don't, but you're still doing the same thing. You're taking off all these old needles because they're not going to do you any good. And you're going to leave a little tuft of foliage there. And then you should get some more buds popping back down here, right? Especially if you bring that branch down like that, the oxen are going to make those buds pop on there. So if you have not decandled your tree, what you're doing is what we talked about here. You're removing selective needles, mostly all back at the base, and you're leaving a little tuft out on the end. And hopefully you're feeding it well, and it's going to bud for you all the way back. All right, so ponderosas, we're doing the same thing. This tree was collected by our illustrious president. I went out with these guys took an old dude out, and I was down at the base of the mountain, and they were way up there. I couldn't even see Nathan anymore. He was so far up there. So this is a ponderosa. Ponderosas, the general theory right now is we feed them heavy, and we just let them just explode. And then they hopefully get, they'll pop buds back on the inside, and those are the ones that we're gonna style. And then there's the other form of thinking that they're transplanting black pine foliage onto ponderosas, which Tim is really doing a hell of a good job on that. Brian's doing a hell of a good job on. So that is another theory on what we could do. Yes, sir.
Is ponderosa double or single?
Single.
It's a single.
Yeah. You can't cut the candle off. You're liable to lose that branch if you cut the candle off. So that's why I love the black pines, because as they give you a whole new palette in which to work on very quickly. You know what I mean? Trees like Scots and some of the others are just a little bit slower. So, in conclusion, this is my little black pine over rock, and at the top I've taken off all the needles just to show you. If you get up here, you can see where all the needles of last year's growth is gone, and all I have on the tree is the new second flush that just came out. So that way I am shrinking it down. Where I had one candle, now I got 2 candles. And where I had 2 candles this year, next year I'll have 4 candles, you know what I mean? So that is how we build a branch. We go from 1 to 2 to 4 and on and on. So really a fun species to get. I hope everybody gets a pine and keep it going. Yeah. Any more questions before we have the main event?
I have a
Yes, sir.
question. What happens if you decandle a black pine?
Okay.
And then it never puts out another flush?
Yes.
But shows buds.
Yes, I have a couple examples of those myself. So,
Okay.
okay, so
For a friend.
yeah, asking for a friend, I love it. So if it did not push out that second set, it was either you did it too late, or it was a little weak, or it was it didn't like it. So it'll give you those buds, but those buds are what is going to really explode. That is why you got to feed those heavy now, so that strength will be in there, and then they'll pop all the way back. Because I got a few of those too. We're supposed to do it, guys, between, June, right around June 15th, to up until July 4th. That is usually our drop dead day that you cannot cut your candles, because then you don't have enough growth season for that second flush to come all the way out, in theory. This one here didn't pay any attention to anything I just said. It just said, if you cut them off, I'm gonna give you some more in 2 weeks, so. Yes, sir?
Alberta spruce are plentiful around Christmas time.
Yes,
It's cheap,
yes.
But I haven't had any luck even keeping them alive. What do you know?
Tough species to do bonsai. They look like they're ready to be a finished tree. So you'll wire Alberta down like this, and then you'll take that wire off and you go just like that. Yeah, it's like, nah, you didn't. So you'll pin them down again, and they might do this, and they'll go like that. So tough species to work with. I've found that they're best served as a small tree. If you get a big one, it's always going to do this. But if you have a small one and it does that, it's okay, because the branches are right here and your tree is about that big maybe, and it'll look okay like that. But Alberta's a tough, man. But they're real hardy. I guess yours wasn't too hardy, huh? Buy another one, man. Buy another one. It's a great time of the year. Everything's on sale, guys, at all the nurseries. What we're looking for is a little movement right out of the base, right? We're just looking for a little lean or something that we can work with. We're looking for some that don't really have all their foliage way out. If you can spot some with a couple of buds in close, those are going to be your future branches. So, and don't fall in love with a branch. That's another famous saying. Don't fall in love with a branch, because we will cut it off. I'm first since Jack Backus. We used to love to have Jack up here. Jack would be like, "Can I cut it?" And the crowd would be like, "Yeah, cut it!" And he would just go at your tree and go, "Wham, man! Remember that jewel?" He'd cut it up. But he was thinking ahead on your tree, that you really didn't need that foliage that was way out there. But we have our tree and we're taking care of it. We love it. And that branch looks beautiful. And we're like, "I'll never cut that branch." Don't show that to a professional, because he'll cut it off. It is not in the style, so do not fall in love with a branch. I'm good. Everybody good? Yes, sir.
Which species would you recommend for beginners?
Black pine. I'm always go black. Once you go black, baby, you never go black. So it is my favorite. It is the hardiest. It is the hardiest one. It is always going to give you a black pine. Normally, if you do what you're supposed to do to it, it is going to react the way you're supposed to do it. So, and then they're relatively cheap. I mean, you can get a bag of seeds nowadays so cheap that you can just start your own. I mean, they grow relatively quick. So that is my first go-to. Everybody else under that is, to me, is slower. So, but Scots are beautiful, man, and white pines are just gorgeous. So, yes, sir.
Are there any specific fungus issues that you've run into with shortleaf pine?
Nothing so far. I'm gonna spray it just like everything else. And but this is my second year with this one. It was like boom. It was like way out here. And Tyler. So when the guy came with it, it was like this, right? And he gave me a good number for it. And everybody just kept passing the tree over. You know, nobody looked at it. So I went and lifted it and I did it like that. And then I started doing like, whoa! So I quickly put it back down like that. And I moved on off. You know what I mean? And because that one little tilt turned it into a really nice tree. So this is the way I'm going to plant it. It's going to go in this box. I'm a box guy. I don't know if everybody knows, but I love to grow in boxes. Boxes breathe. They don't get, when it's 100 degrees out, they stay cool. I can water it. The water just comes out everywhere, and they last. They're my go-to as far as building the tree's health until it's ready to go into the box. So.
Did you build up boxes yourself?
Yeah. This is what we call a mic box. So I have, yeah. So after years of my boxes exploding and me not being able to grab it, I started adding a couple little extra pieces. So now this is what I came up. This is my last thing, and these last about 3 to 7 years, I've had some that last 3 to 7 years. I'm working on the bottom. That's usually where my worst thing is. The bottom just kind of decays, but no, these are mic boxes, and I do here before I go into there. So that is what I do. Yes, sir.
Any of the fungicides and pesticides that you have up there, are all of those safe for deciduous as well?
Yes, yes. And then I left one out. This is the one. This is the stinker. I don't know if you guys still have this one around. Lime sulfur. Yeah. Smells like rotten eggs, but it's another. It's just like the fertilizer. That smell means that you're doing something right. So, in Japan, what is that garden we went to? Suzuki. I think it was Toro Suzuki. I think it was. Anyway, they dipped the whole tree, every deciduous, all the tridents, all the pretty. They were all white when we went through that nursery. They had just sprayed everybody, so they lime sulfur everything. Black pines, deciduous. Yeah, they do it every year, and they've been growing trees for hundreds of years. So who am I to argue with somebody spraying it? So yes, lime sulfur is good for everything, and yes, these other two, the mancozeb and the daconil, they're good because you want your tree, because those buds that are in there, they're latent buds that are going to pop out in the spring. You want those protected before they come out and maybe get something. So you want to guard against that. Yes, sir.
Lime sulfur will stain your sidewalks and your cement, so.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta watch where you spray it.
Yeah, and your pots too. I usually cover. I usually cover my pots. Yes, yes, yes. And then my cold frame is under my deck. So in about another month or so, I'm gonna hook it to my hose, and I'm gonna spray my whole overwintering, the plastic, everything. Because I think that's where I got mine. Because a lot of my trees went in, and then when they came out in the spring, there was some yellow on the leaves, on the needles, and then man, I mean, it wasn't 3 weeks before they just started going. So I think that my thing was from in there. So please spray, please spray. So this thing, once we get into this thing, we start losing stuff like that, it's not fun.
How are you watering your plants in fall going into winter?
Pines going into winter. Okay, so I'm still with the dip finger deal. I'll stick my finger down there. If my finger feels moist, then I move on. And especially like the rain we've had. Who has watered? I hadn't watered in like 4 days. With the rain and in the cool weather. I have maples that I haven't watered, and this bad boy here, it hasn't gotten any. So my watering now in the summer, you guys know when we get up 80 or 90, it's water in the morning before I go to work, water when I come in. So it's 2 times a day because everybody know about our soil, right? I'm totally inorganic. I am lava, pumice, and aca. Those are my 3. Now that is not necessarily that you have to do these 3, but I found and the professionals have found this will give you the best growth that you can get because you can just steadily dump fertilizer and water in them, and it drains right out of the bottom. It doesn't retain water like peat will do, and pine bark will do, and any basalt, and then all these 3, the surfaces are all like that, right? Lava, you guys know lava has a bunch of holes, and so does pumice. So the roots wrap around there, and they'll get their moisture in those little crevices. And those 3, those are the ones. Yes, sir.
Are all the fungicides you're using foliar spray fungicides?
Yes.
Are there
Yes.
any that are something you can treat in the soil? level?
Yes. Well, now see, because I got mycorrhiza in my pine soil, so I cover the pot with a cloth because I don't want that to kill my mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza is what's got my trees going. You know what I mean? You take your tree out and you got that white fungus under there. Oh, that's a happy time. That means that fungus up there is making sure your roots are getting the nutrients it needs. It's helping it absorb it. So to answer your question, I cover up my my pots.
So when you're spraying pines, you cover your soil level?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the ones in the yard, they get it too. I got a couple of big pines in the yard, and they get the whole spray too. So they're all covered. Yeah. I can go all night, man.
Dilution rate for the lime sulfur?
Yes, 1 to a gallon, maybe. I'm looking at all you guys over there.
It's like 1 to 3.
I don't know.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, you don't use it. Yeah. 1 to 3. So like a gallon of water, I'll put in.
1 to 3.
I'll put a couple of capfuls in. 1 to
Read
3.
instructions on it all.
Yeah, there you go. Read the label. I never read the label. I'm always, that's why my grandma was. She was just like, whoa, just a little bit, So there's that. So yeah.
Do you switch off on your insecticides and stuff?
Yes. Yes, because mites will get impervious. I'll use insecticidal stroke, and then I'll switch up to malathion, and then I'll come back. Jesse is good at, Jesse puts a power hose on his, which helps out. He'll,
Yeah, for mites, I'll rotate sprays and then use high pressure water.
yeah, he'll spray his trees like that, especially junipers, right? Spray them down. It's gonna knock off a whole bunch of the spider mites, and you knock them off every other day. Eventually, somebody's like, I'm not climbing back up that tree. Let's do this. Knock me all the way back down. Yeah. So no, those three are good. Yeah, and rotate them because they'll lay eggs. If you spray it this week, you didn't get the eggs, right? So the eggs you killed all the adults and all the younger ones, but those eggs are there. So you're gonna have to come back 2 weeks later and hit them again with insecticidal soap or malathion, and rotate them as you asked. Yes. Anybody else?
You put them all together in your cold frame?
Yes, pretty much. The A team. The A team gets the spots, right? And then the second stringers, you're kind of under the bench, maybe, you know. Third stringers, I have them out in the yard. They're just healed in. Some of these guys,
Now,
like,
did they get needle cast, the ones that weren't in them?
no, they do pretty good. Pretty good. And snow. I love snow. I don't know about you guys over winter. I'm sure Christian's going to cover that. I love snow. I'll toss snow. I'll go in there and toss snow on all my trees. Slow release water on them. It's just, snow is awesome. Hell, how much snow have we ever got? We don't get much at all anymore, so can't really do it. Yeah, Joe.
What do you spray on your trees before you pack them away to the winter?
I'll be hitting those two from now up to December. And then right before, in December, when they're getting ready to go in, I usually go in right before Christmas, depending on our weather. Then I'll hit them with the lime sulfur. And lime sulfur really helps on black pines. It really makes that bark white up and just look fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you just put it in a spray bottle?
Spray bottle, yeah. You guys know the little short spray bottle
Yeah.
that you do like that? That's my go-to, yeah.
Okay.
I got the big one, but it's so cumbersome, and I do that when I have company, so I can look like it.
I mean, you put it straight and dilute it?
Oh, it's diluted.
It's diluted.
Yeah.
Once again, what you said.
Once again, what I said, 2 tablespoons by hour, either I go whoop, you know what I mean, and go from there. So,
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, we got plenty of trees up here for you guys to look at. We're gonna let Christian give you this dynamic show. I'm sorry, Chris. I keep pulling it up. It's gonna be fantastic. The best you've ever seen, as my boy said.